Hello, Crafty Mavens. This is Megan, and I am back today with a Scraplift Saturday video for you. For this layout, I decided to use the layout inspiration that you saw just before the video started. And I am going to use my Citrus Twist kit from May of 2016. So, sorry about this. I was cleaning up my little area and trying to get everything situated. So, here I have my photos that I'm going to be using. I had these two photos, and I know that the Scraplift only calls for one, but this is where I kind of make it my own. I don't normally scrapbook one photo, so I decided to go with these two. I did have some frames in my kit that I thought I might want to use, but I decided to put them aside because they didn't really work. I also wanted to maybe incorporate one of these cut files that they sent in the kit. And then here I'm thinking I'm going to use some of this pink paisley fancy free 6x6 paper that I got in the kit as well. This is actually like 4 of their kits. So I got their main kit, and then I think I got 3 or 4 of their add-on kits as well. Because at the time that I subscribed, this is the first kit that I got from them. They were doing a 30% off sale. So I got everything for 30% off. So it was a really, really good deal. Okay, so here now I'm just cutting my photos down. I did want them to be the same size, so I'm just measuring them against each other. And then later on in the layout, I am going to decide to cut one of them smaller than the other. It just kind of works out a little bit better. Okay, so I was kind of off to the side picking out some papers that I might want to use. I had this scrap piece of blue paper and then a bunch of other scraps. I had this green, it's like this bright green color, and it's really, really pretty, but it's not going to end up working with this layout. This is where I decide to cut the photo down, and so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to glue it onto that blue paper that is just the right size. Don't you like it when they just turn out to be the perfect size? And you don't even have to cut into it more. It is always nice when it works out like that. Okay, so here's where I realize, okay, that bright green is not going to work. So I pull out these 2 other pieces of paper, and they are from American Crafts. They are their textured paper. I decide to go with this yellow, and I'm not exactly sure if it has a name. Hang on, let's see. It says Butter Weave from American Crafts. So that's the name of the yellow paper. Okay, so now I'm just gluing down the photos, and I do leave a little bit of bigger space on both of the left side and the right side. And then I had this piece of paper that's kind of this ombre pink, and I was thinking that that would be really cute to have on the side there. And then since it did come from the 6x6 pad, it had a strip at the top, and I was going to leave it there, but you will see that I'm going to change that down the road. Here I'm going through the other 6x6 paper pieces just to kind of see if I want to incorporate any of them in the layout, and I came across this one that had all of these circles on it. So I'm going to spend some time and cut them all out, and then I'm not even going to use it. So I will cut this out. Okay, so now I'm back, and I have pulled out another sheet of paper, and I'm going to actually decide to turn it on the diagonal. Is that diagonal? No, not diagonal. Sorry, the vertical. Because I needed it to be a little bit bigger to kind of go along with the scrap lifted layout, and I really did like that paper. But since there was so much pink on the edge of, or not on the edge, but on that pattern, I decided to change out the background little layer behind the photos after I end up doing this. So I'm using my Close to My Heart Lagoon ink pad to ink the edges. And I'm going to play around with the idea of using this pink paper, but even after inking the edges, I really didn't like the way that the pink looked, the two different pinks. So I pull out this green, and it has a plus sign pattern on it, and I really, really like the way that looks. So here I'm going to ink the edges of these two papers, and then I'm going to start embellishing. Now, this kit, since I got so many add-ons, I got a ton of embellishments. I don't know if I'm ever going to use all of these embellishments. It's crazy how many I got. Okay, so I decided for the title. This is what I got from the inspiration piece this week. There was an image that said, "Life is simply better in the country." And so I went to the Silhouette Design store and I decided to purchase a few different cut files. These pictures were obviously not taken in the country, but I thought that I could take inspiration and make that into my title for this layout, that Life is Simply Better. And I considered maybe having it be Life is Simply Better with a brother or with you, or something like that, but I decided to just leave it as Life is Simply Better. And you can just kind of, as the reader or the looker at my page or whatever, whoever is reading it can decide what they want the rest of the sentence to say. And so here I'm just pulling out a bunch of different pieces from the embellishment packs. There were probably 5 embellishment packs that I got. I was very excited to get the pink paisley fancy free embellishments, as well as some from Project Life, and there's a bunch of flare badges, and you can see those rubber charms that are on the left hand side of the layout. Those I believe are from Pink Fresh Studio, but I'm going to end up not using those. Okay, so now here, I'm not quite sure what I'm doing. Oh, this is where I'm thinking, okay, maybe I will make the title longer. And so I'm going to kind of look over and figure out if I have enough to write out the words "with a brother" or "with you, brother," but I decide to just set that aside and not do that. So here I'm just going to pull out some more embellishments. I really like that triangle flare button, and then I would like this little acetate piece that came from the Pink Paisley Fancy Free collection. And then also this little flare badge over there that has the flowers on it. Then I'm thinking, okay, we need some more embellishing going on. And there were these, what are they called? Color cast? Is that what they're called? They're these little plastic pieces or resin pieces, and they were in the shape of a flower, and that kind of went along with the flowers on the flare badge. So I'm going to use those. Here is where I am finally going to start gluing everything down, because I was silly and I didn't just glue things down as I went. So now here I'm finally going to glue it all down. And I really enjoyed making this layout. When I first started making this layout, I wasn't quite sure how it would go and if I would like it, but I really love it. These are some of my favorite photos of my boys, because I don't know about you, but I mean, your kids don't always get along, right? Especially when they're toddlers. And these photos, the one on the right is Brennan, and my son on the left is Jonas. And Jonas is my older son. And at the time, he was probably about 3, almost 4, I think, is how old he was. And Brennan on the right is probably 2 in these photos. So here I'm just gluing down all of these little pieces of embellishments, and I think I'm going to glue down my title. So here I'm trying to place it, and since this was 3 separate cut files that I had to cut apart and and make it my own, it's kind of hard to get them to fit together, but I really, really do like the way that it turns out. So here I'm just using my Tombow Aqua glue in my fine line bottle. And I'm just going to glue down each one of these words separately. And the title is going to be Life is Simply Better. And I really, really like it. I will try to remember to leave the links to each one of these cut files, and so that if you want to purchase them, you can. I did have a little bit of a hard time trying to place down the words life is, because I didn't really want that F to be covering up the T's so much in the word better. So I'm going to actually end up moving it over to the left side a little bit. There we go. So that's where I'm going to put that. So I'm going to put my glue on there and then glue that down. And I do have the eye, the top of the eyes, the little dots, whatever you call them. But I'm going to decide to leave them off because I actually kind of like the way that looks. So there I have the title down, and now I'm going to finish embellishing the layout. So I'm going to use up the rest of these glue zots that I am going to fight with to get off of this. I wanted to use the glue zots because I know that those are a really good adhesive, and I wanted to make sure that these little resin flowers didn't come off of the layout, but they're stuck onto the cardboard because the end of the roll, that's what happens to them when they get stuck to the cardboard. Sorry, I'm having a hard time explaining myself. But I am fighting them and I'm using them up. So that was a lot of fighting to go through with that. Okay, so now I'm going to do this little embellishment cluster here. And I was thinking I would put the date on that polka dotted little tag, but I don't know what the date is. So I guess I could have put, I think it's August 2008. But I like to have the actual date. I don't know why. It's usually, sometimes I will get away with not doing that, but usually I like to have the actual date because I'm kind of OCD and just very much things need to be in order. So now here I'm putting down this little cluster in the bottom right hand corner, and I think that's going to be it. Oh, I do decide to pull out my Heidi Swap Color Shine in teal, and I'm going to cover the photo because I am not like Jen Scow, and I cannot embrace getting drops of ink on my photos. So I do a little bit of droplets on the layout, and then here are some close-ups, and you can also see some pictures. Thanks so much for stopping by today, and I will see you a bit later this month. Have a great scrappy week. Bye!